much, Alex. And up first is going to be Bazaar CTF, Dan. It's the first time we're going to see it on stream. Talk to me about, the recipes for success. How do you get that flag, and how do you get it out and all the way home?
That's the difficult part of Bazaar CTF, is getting that flag out. It is an absolute fortress either side. It's one of those game types where if you manage to get one flag, you can play it pretty defensively, and we'll see a lot of games finish at 1-0, I feel, when you get the kind of top-level Halo players going up against each other. But it's about getting that first flag. There's several different ways to try and go for it. Pushing into your opponent's bar allows you to gain so much map coverage. You can see a lot, you can give a lot of information, you can shoot down at the spawners who are going to be spawning down towards trench and then to the lower sewers. But then it's when you run that flag, the likelihood is you're going to have to slay your opponents twice. Like a lot of history in Halo, if you got 4 down, probably a flag cap. You can get that flag across the map pretty quickly, and you can all kind of stay in a position and you can slay again, and then you can go for another flag cap. Doesn't happen on Bazaar CTF. You've got to join that flag, you've got to track back, you've got to slay as you run. So you want to try and force the spawns to either one side of the map. Usually you want to try and force them to the kind of sewer spawn, because they can very easily be naded. Have someone in your sewers, you can be waiting for those players who are going to try and overextend to push through. But it makes it a very fun but difficult CTF game type. If both teams are playing it correctly, it could be a stalemate, and we could be 0-0, get to overtime, it could be 1-0. If both teams are playing it incorrectly and quite sloppy, then you could have, flags going in left, right, and center. So it really depends on how comfortable these two teams are on this game type.
It's an interesting point you raise as well about trying to get the flag into bar once you pull it out, and then you have to almost make a decision on the fly, if I'm correct. You don't know if they're going to spawn over towards that tower side, or the nest side, excuse me, or down towards that sewer trench area as well. So you're going to have to rely on the teammates' communication to see if you can secure that flag cap. And of course, you can't do things like of Halo old, sitting on the opposing flag and trying to get back-to-back caps. There's no point in getting greedy. Bring that flag all the way home, escort it with your teammates, or as Touch said actually to us, you'll be getting dropped mid-tournament. So that he feels very strongly about coming back. As we now jump into the game, through the eyes of Snipedrone, who had a fantastic game. Immediately, you can see that starting try. He goes to try and secure that power up, and it looks like it has been dropped. Still on the pad as well, but Snipedrone opting to shoot and help his teammate instead. That's going to be a lovely start from him, as well as 3 members of OEX go down. Snipedrone finally hits the grave.
Wasn't able to get the overshield as well. Wasn't able to slam that one in, so the overshield's still available. The grapple tries to be attempted. You asked me the other day, do we expect to see teams try and use that grapple to bring the power-ups close? But it does actually require a bit of accuracy. Missed on that occasion, but certainly a very scrappy start to this game. Both teams trying to get those power-ups, trying to get the likes of the dynamo grenades, which can really give you a big advantage in this game time.
Yeah, now we're seeing SLG. What can he do to try and be the influencer? Can he push the pace? Can he dictate the way this game is going to flow? It's positioned now over towards this hut as he drops down bottom middle, faced with Sica, and unfortunately a combination of Lqgend and Sica will take him down. So unfortunately not able to get anything up and running there with that life, and he will have to come back and watch the rest of his teammates as that grapple does get picked up. And now Lqgend has the bar control, and this is not where SLG and co want him to be.
Just another quick reminder in case you're just joining us with this observer, with the way we're looking at it right now. You have to use the little arrow that is going to be next to the names in the top left or the top right. You will see it very faintly next to Lqgend. That's how you know who you're watching for the time being. But that flag has been pulled. It looks like they're trying to go for a run here. Some good shots again coming out from Lqgend, but it depends how far they can get this flag. This is where now you need to overextend if you're spawning, and if you're on the team that's running the flag, you've got to be prepared to nade those overextenders and get them out of your base.
Unfortunately, we are seeing 2 members of OEX going down. NURIX and SLG have faded away and will not be able to stop this. This is going to be as clean a run as you're ever likely to see. Straight into bar, straight through double doors, and then all the way over top middle as well. So nobody in position to stop that. And that just goes to show how strong Cartel have been, with another 2 members of OEX going down. They're on the ropes here.
I think what was impressive from that flag run was the fact that Cartel all pushed in as a unit. There was 2 or 3 of them on the flag. They slayed together, then they ran it, and they all moved collectively across the map, being prepared for whoever was going to face them. And the one remaining player went back to the base and did a full sweep to check no one was there, killed the overextenders, and it was a really solid flag run. And now, if I'm correct in thinking it's difficult to score flags on this map, I think OEX might struggle to get back into this game now with 9 minutes still remaining. But Cartel being Cartel, they're going to push for more. There is no chance they are going to sit back.
Yep, you mentioned, if you can set up a little bit defensively, almost park the bus, but I think the situation is, that's not how Cartel play. They wouldn't know how to do it. 2 members go down for the moment, though. NURIX is waiting to spawn back up. He has just gotten up now, a full complement of the side of OEX. SLG trying to push that tree now, fortunately back down with a couple of nades as well, and how he could use those dynamos to see if he could clear the hook, but unfortunately he does drop down out on that balcony. Rockets though come through, Stark gets that kill, Snipedrone will fall, but double doors action going down, thrust pack as well in control of Sica. He's trying to play defense, and it looks as though they've gotten the job done and they've withstand that tide.
If there's one place you don't want to just be aimlessly pushing, it's double doors, because it is just filled with grenades and you just walk into a very unpleasant situation. But again, just the shots coming out that we're seeing from Sica, it does eventually fall, as both teams will now try and gain control of the middle of the map as they look towards the next power-up spawning shortly. And at the moment, I would say that Cartel are in enough control that they shouldn't be too worried here.
No, not too worried at all, but 4 dead for OEX. They're a team that definitely have to be worried. Flag out and on the move again, heading towards those double doors. Fragxr sees the flag on the move and is going to try and cut it off the pass if he possibly can. Expect to see some nades land at the feet very quickly. Gunshots will do the job as well, but I like this here from Snipedrone. Standing, waiting to take the fight, knowing if he tries to run that flag, he's going to pay the price of his life.
Oh, just tunnel vision there from TchiK, looking at the flag, not even considering the power-up, and there was Snipedrone waiting in the wings, helps his teammates, they continue to run the flag, and now Snipedrone could just dominate the middle with this extra shield he's able to pick up. It should be another comfortable flag cap if Snipedrone can get one more kill, but it looks like he's struggling to find the players here. Here's TchiK though, and it looks like, yep, okay, that's going to be a kill. Nice assisting from the team, and I think that Cartel look on top form right now.
Snipedrone doesn't speak French, but he does speak Halo, and I'll tell you, all he does is deal in numbers, 0s and 1s. That's how you speak Snipedrone. Tell him where the players are, he will shoot them, he will put damage down. Fragxr down towards that sewers area, being backed all the way down. I like this game intelligence from both players, realizing they don't need to die here and will live to fight another day.
Really impressive stuff from Cartel at the moment. Just OEX, they need to try and pick up the pace a little bit, but at the same time, they need some map control right in the middle. They need to be thinking about this overshield. They need to be thinking about the rockets. And then once they have control of them, pushing up, getting those slays, get a flag pull. They're trying their best to get into this base. SLG, though, the last of just 2 players, flanking around, trying to be a nuisance. And it's all well and good being a nuisance and hitting shots and getting kills from behind. But if it doesn't result in map control, then it's all for nothing because you're 2 flags down.
Let's also talk about those 2 flag runs, Dan. Both identically ran over top middle through double doors. We thought we'd see some more bar control, but maybe that's just the dominance the Cartel are seeing here. They're so confident in their shot, taking those fights as Lqgend goes down ultimately there. But why are we seeing these runs going across top middle be so successful?
I think the top middle runs, when you are slaying correctly, they can work out. Because when you spawn, if you've already died, you can actually get to top middle, you can get to the middle very quickly. If you try and run too safe and you try and take it down to sewers, you do leave yourself quite vulnerable to grenades and also quite vulnerable to a quick return from one of the spawners, because they can kind of get that return whilst no one's able to get any vision. If your flag is in top middle, you're going to have great vision on it, especially if you've got control, especially if you're getting those power-ups. And I think a power-up might have been picked up there by OEX. If it was, then maybe that gives them the chance. But certainly power-up control has been very much in Cartel's favor throughout this game.
Yeah, Cartel have definitely secured 2 of the last overshields, it must be said. Snipedrone putting the second one to use to secure that flag cap. Just controlling top middle. We're seeing Cartel do another push here, but Rockets coming back, but they're coming back to play defense, it seems. But 3 dead now on the side. Make that 4. They're starting to run flags again across bottom middle. It's all about where they spawn. It looks like they will spawn over towards that hut areas. They had got sewers blocked for a moment, but Lqgend is waiting on his flag box, waiting to try and push that one in, but unfortunately OEX, they're on hand. They're trying to make this stop.
Yeah, so if you're not blocking the thruster spawn, it's one of the most popular spawns and one of the most likely spawns. So if you do block the sewer spawn and you run that flag quick enough with 4 down, you know pretty much where the other team's going to be spawning. So you just need to be prepared with some grenades, bombard that balcony, and make it complete difficult for them to actually push out. But 3-0 now. The flag runs have been somewhat flawless from Cartel. OEX have not had an answer whatsoever.
No answer. Snipedrone sitting in the bar, waiting to be served, but unfortunately he's been served fresh death as he does go down. He will hit the respawn screen. TchiK and Fragxr, the last 2 alive, as SLG will accompany them now, just off the respawn, but they're sitting back base, they're being penned back, and this such is the control that Cartel have had. We're going to see a flag pull, but perhaps that is just enough to get Cartel to come back to help his team get out off the respawn, but this could pay for him as well as he does go down. We might see Cartel get a flag pull of their own.
Yeah, Cartel. Well, that's going to be 4 dead once again, so a nice perfect coming out of Shaady, and now they're going to go for 1 more bottom mid spawn. But that's the That's the downside of trying to run it bottom mid, is that someone can spawn in the alleyway, someone can really ruin your run completely. But I think Cartel, because they're so comfortable in a lead here, they don't have to overextend and push desperately for this flag. Instead, they just can continue to dominate top middle. They can look at the clock, say, look, we've got 4 minutes left. We're 3-0 up. We don't need to do anything silly as a triple kill from TchiK, just putting that mangler to use.
Putting that mangler to use, the spiritual successor of Halo 3's Mauler, and only it does have a little bit of range as well. It does pack a nasty punch.
Oh, really does.
And Mangle is exactly what it does. Sica down on the stairs, taken down to no shields, ultimately taken down altogether. Half of that overshield left to burn as well. Can they get this flag all the way out? It looks as though they're going to play a little bit of defense for the moment, as we're seeing OEX try to get that flag across, but unfortunately taken down is Fragxr, so they're going to have to start all over again. But such is the dominance that Cartel have shown, we have the benefit now of looking at the slays as they trying desperately to get this flag, but maybe too much.
Yeah, TchiK still with Mangler in hand, and they were able to actually get a push because they were able to pick up the overshield for the first time. I think it's something that OEX haven't been able to achieve. It's just been dominated by Cartel throughout the entirety, but that flag is still being run just there or thereabouts. They've been training this one through. They've been desperating it a little bit because they have to. They need to get a flag quickly. It is not easy to score quick successive flags in Halo Infinite. Instead, you need to be making sure you allow time to get back into the game.
They were trying to force that flag through pure commitment and passion, but unfortunately it wasn't enough to get the job done. Bulldog in the hand of Snipedrone, just surveying this double doors area as well. Going to try and help his teammate secure this flag pole. 2 members go down, and immediately Snipedrone spins around on a swivel, looking for those fresh spawners, getting that grapple hook as well, so we can get touch tight to anybody overextending. We can already see on the player outlines, the player has leaked through, and Snipedrone has unfortunately missed that, so they're going to have to slay him on the way back. It's going to be NURIX trying to set up on these double doors, but he's going to run straight into a Bulldog, and it barks and it bites.
It does indeed. Another one of the weapons you need to be picking up alongside the Mangler. It really can do damage up close and personal. And it looks like this could be yet another flag going in favor of Cartel here. They just seem to have found the right formula here against OEX. They're comfortable with their top mid control. They're slaying correctly. And look, there's another power up if they want to grab that one as well. Or is this one going to be ignored by OEX? Maybe the communication is going to be sent towards the teammate. It's looking pretty dire at 4-0. I'm surprised. I thought that this was going to be a little bit closer between these two, but it has to be said, Cartel are just dominating the slays, and that allows for the amount of control they've been able to find.
Control is certainly a word you could use. Utter domination they have had in this map so far. There's OEX just not been able to get going. They've been playing on the back foot since minute 1. Cartel doing such a great job at dictating the pace of play, and top middle has never been out of their control, it must be said. Power-ups all the while secured, rockets as well. So they've had all the ingredients to use, all the fundamentals to make your game successful. Has all gone the way of Cartel, and this flag is only a matter of time before it looks like it's going to get punched in.
They've thrown in all the ingredients to the mixing bowl, and they have baked a pretty heavy cake that OEX will not want to go anywhere near, because this has been a one-sided affair that was definitely against the grain. When we looked at the statistics, when we looked at these two teams, how they've been performing in this tournament, everything led to this is going to be a close series. This is going to be a close game. Even when we watched the scrims this week, they were close games, but Capture the Flag on Bazaar is very much Cartel's home turf here. They knew exactly what they wanted to do coming into this, right from the get-go, from their starting strategies. They've been perfect from minute 1.
This is nothing more than a statement of intent from Cartel, just how dominant they can be against some of the best players in Europe, it must be said. The likes of SLG, NURIX and Fragxr, they've been there and they've done it before on European soil, so such a strange thing to see here with them being so utterly dominating this flag game, and they have got a Slayer to try and bring it back, and anybody can win a Slayer, but at the moment, I've been thoroughly impressed by how Cartel have handled this.
Yeah, and my worry is when we go to that game 3, we've already seen Cartel beat OEX in live fire on Oddball. It happened in a scrim, sure. It's going to be different in tournament play, but certainly statistics are not on their side as we will close out this game. It's going to be 4-0. It is Cartel absolutely wiping the floor with OEX, something I was not expecting, and we need to see a response from OEX in the Slayer.
Yeah, Slayer up next, but we're looking at the slays in that Bazaar CTF. Unfortunately, Lqgend had a game to remember as well. What a performance out of him. He had 27 kills. They were heavily outslayed as well as heavily outmaneuvered there, where OEX. They've got it all to do, but what can they do in this next game?
I think if they look at the slays, I think that OEX are going to be like, oh, well, maybe we just don't play this Slayer here. We don't actually worry about it. But I think power-up control is going to be very important. If I'm correct, it's going to be Aquarius Slayer, so they need to be controlling that camo top middle. But we'll talk more about that as we look at the stats in this previous game. It was rocket control, it was overshield control, everything was there for Cartel, and it was how they actually maneuvered their way through the map. There was a time where Snipedrone, the flag was being run. He could have picked it up, tried to chain it back, and just said, oh, let's full commit to this. But he thought about it. You said he was all about zeros and ones. He's a bit of a robot. Well, he realized that overshield was coming up. He played it patient. He shot someone in the back who was unaware of the fact the overshield was going to be rising, picked it up, slayed the rest of the players that were in middle, and then the rest of the team were able to put that flag in. Just little decision-making, things like that, is really going to set you apart from other teams. And I'm very impressed with what I just saw, not just from Snipedrone, but from the entire Cartel team.
Yeah, it was some lovely in-game IQ from him as he was positioned looking at the flag, and he went and looked over towards Overshield, and he caught TchiK, just like you said at the time, tunnel vision looking at the flag, and he caught him unawares and was able to take him down. It's little decisions like that, not to get hyper-focused on the flag and the objective, but look at the bigger picture, and that's exactly what Snipedrone did, and he played a huge part in making sure they were successful.
And something I want to talk about as well, we saw the Mangler in a little bit of use throughout that, and you said it was the kind of successor to the Mauler in Halo 3, and whilst yes, it's a one-shot beat down, you also said it's pretty decent at long range. It's a 3-shot kill to the head from distance. That thing works as basically a magnum in the right hands of the right player, so it has so much versatility. Not only can you get up close and personal, you can go for the one-shot beat down. If you are consistent with your shots, if you are confident in your accuracy, then that thing can outshoot a BR. Although, it is punishing. If you do miss one of those shots, you will lose a fight against a BR, so it's risk and reward. But for some of these players and some of the shots I'm seeing, I think we're going to see lots of the Mangler. We're going to see lots of these newer weapons from Halo Infinite really play a part in the Halo Championship Series.
Yeah, I think the reason why I didn't mention the 3-shot headshot thing is because I don't think I'm actually capable. I don't think I'm actually capable of doing it. I think that's the issue. I think I didn't even know you were allowed to hit 3 headshots back to back to back. So impressive stuff from them, and we will no doubt see the Mangler used, and it will evolve as the meta does shift as well. But we now turn our attentions to Aquarius Slayer. I have to say, Aquarius probably being one of my favorite maps as well, and we're talking about spiritual successors to Halo 3. This plays very much like Onslaught and a little bit like as we said, Midship or Truth as well, and it's a really good flag map, and I hope to see Slayer and Aquarius could be just as good.
Yeah, it's a difficult map to play on Slayer if you're not familiar as a team with your callouts, because there's a lot to look at, there's a lot to call out. I mean, that's where a lot of these players are in Halo Infinite in general, right? There's not enough specific callouts right now. It's in general, it's just like, oh, they're pushing from this area to this area. The bit in between doesn't really have a callout, but eventually, as we grow, it will get a callout. Maybe Clutch will get something named after him, but I don't think so, because he doesn't deserve that just yet. But Aquarius Slayer, I think we're going to be needing to focus again. The power-up control, camo, top middle, can be very important here in Slayer, and just top mid control in general. If you are working as a unit, again, catching people on the spawn cycle, you can have so much success here on Aquarius Slayer. And if you're brave, you can have one player, the kind of pistola effect like he used to do in the old Halo days, roams around bottom middle, just listening to callouts and cleans up everyone who's panicking, trying to run away to the needle side or to the plant side. Because there are a lot of like kind of little areas you can tuck yourself away to hide, but one grenade can soon sort that out.
Yeah, plenty of pockets to hide around, and like you say, there is no specific callout, so some of those players are falling through the cracks, and it's really a player like Ryan Noob's, playground really, if he can get himself up and running. But we're talking about, if you get the competitive itch, that competitive bug, and you feel like that the players you're watching today aren't very good, what you do is head over to faceit.com, get your team signed up, and be sure to follow at HCS as well to get all things competitive Halo. That's going to be the hub going forward, as well as Faceit as well. So get your teams all signed up, join a few Discords, find some teammates, start playing some competitive Halo. We'd love to have you. But now we do turn our attention to Aquarius Slayer, and as we do load in, we don't have anything like a sniper rifle to contend with, no power weapons of real note, but we do have a power up.
And of course, there's a heat wave as well on this map, and that thing, I think I will call it a power weapon. And we've got some dynamo grenades, which I think I might call that a power weapon as well, because they can hit hard. But the heat wave, as long as you're using it in the correct way, you're using it vertically, not horizontally. I had to think about that one because I had to just line myself up. It can hit shots in a single target, and it can really just demolish another team. If you have it horizontally, the shots go a little bit wayward, and even though you can sometimes get a shot with it and a beat down or something, the vertical way seems to be where all these pros are going. What did make me laugh, Richie, is that when we chose a player who likes to roam bottom mid and finish kills. We both chose NA players rather than a European player, considering we want a European. So, I mean, if you want to be the Dan Gaskins of the world and you want to walk around bottom mid and you want to finish all your kills, you can. No, but if I'm talking about an actual player, Snipedrone, he's perfect for that, right? He loves just finishing off and listening to those callouts, but he's going to have 3 French teammates. Are the callouts going to be as good as they would? Are they going to be as fluid as they would if it was the same language that he was playing? But at the moment, it doesn't look like it makes a difference because they are absolutely popping off.
Yeah, he doesn't have to listen to too much when everybody he's fighting is either one shot or he makes them so for the rest of his teammates. But now turning our attentions to OEX, SLG and the boys, they went down so heavily in that first game, and no doubt that's put their nose a little bit out of a joint, and they're going to want to bounce back. So he has to do it here, or they're going down to the losers bracket.
They're already, they're already at that kind of point where they're probably thinking about the losers bracket, and they're probably thinking about Na'Vi rubbing their hands together at the potential chance of getting a rematch, because even though they would have been on that high after the winners bracket run they've had up to this point, they've just been knocked off that high horse they've been sitting on firmly. They have been pushed off so far that they probably are going to be dropping to the lower bracket before we even realize, because this has not been a game. That Bazaar CTF was not a game that was close whatsoever. There's not even any positives I can look at what OEX did. It was all about Cartel, but they need to change their fortunes here in this Slayer. They need to respond to Cartel in a way that Cartel say, oh, okay, no, they are here to play. We need to worry about what could happen in map 3 if we lose this Slayer. If Cartel, however, off the start, off the rip, they manage to go 5-10 kills up, I think the heads might start to drop with OEX, and they'll already start to be thinking about that losers bracket.
It's interesting you talk about the start, and if Cartel do go 5-10 kills up at the start, and how that might be punishing to the confidence of maybe OEX. But on the flip side of that, if OEX can get the better at the first opening engagements and maybe secure a camouflage as well, that could put them on the right track, and they're experienced enough, they're good enough to be able to know how to close that game out, and we could see the map number 3. But how important are these starting strats, these opening engagements going to be? Yeah,
I think starting strats at the start of any game are always going to be a little bit wishy-washy. I think I heard someone once suggest they were, because you don't really know what works at the moment. You've also not been able to watch other teams and know what their strategies are, so instead you kind of go for default strats. I'd love it if players have got to the point where they're already coming up with intelligent strategies that are really trying to break that kind of default dynamic, but I would imagine that most people are going to play it the same way. But if we do see something a little bit different, I know, like all 4 people bombing one way to then kill one player, get the man advantage, then push up and grab the camo, that is something that could really propel you to have that momentum boost that you so desperately need in a game like this. But we'll see what happens. I think that a lot of people are unsure of how to start a lot of these maps because they need to see it played at the highest competitive level, right? We're seeing the best players in Europe now. This is where the meta is going to be for Europe, but that meta is going to constantly develop. It's going to constantly change depending on who learns what, because everyone's learning something every day. I see a new Twitter video about how you could drop a weapon to fire a plasma pistol and then get into your BR faster. All these little tiny things are starting to creep up already.
Yeah, and something you're saying, players learning the game, and as we do start to load in, somewhere I've seen Snipedrone like to position himself is over towards top closed, or top needles as it's been called if you've been watching Onset's videos. So that's somewhere where he's played. He puts a lot of damage down. If he receives any sort of damage, he's able to back down and get away into some of those closer sight lines. He's able to get himself out of dodge and out of harm's way and come back to fight again. So be expecting to see Snipedrone positioned there, and perhaps Cartel soaring and foring as a result of that. But we're seeing that these starting strats up and running already. Sica has fallen, and has too as TchiK, so they've traded off pretty evenly. But there we go, man advantage now in the favor of Cartel, 2-1.
So for OEX, if they do go down too far behind here, they just need to not panic. They need to ensure that they all just bound together and say, look, we are still good enough. We can still take these guys. I mean, the individual ability of a lot of the OEX players is second to none for the most part. Like, we've been watching them scrim all week, and SLG, for example, is an absolute monster, but it just seems like Cartel are on a different level now, and I am surprised. I have to be honest. I thought that this was going to be a lot closer, but 7-4, it's still possible for OEX, but certainly the starting stages of this game, Cartel are demonstrating the same things they did in the previous.
Yeah, speaking of the starting stages, and something they did on Bazaar very well was get the power-ups, get the power weapons. That has happened again. Lqgend was able to secure that camouflage, but OEX starting to grow in confidence now, back within 2 kills. They have maybe closed that gap just a little bit, but as I say, that Stark does ultimately fall as well. We're on board looking through the eyes of Shaady now as he sprints and slides around the place, trying to find some people to shoot, and unfortunately for the moment, he's not able to find anybody.
And not anyone at all, and that does happen sometimes if people are staying together and ensuring they're not leaving themselves too vulnerable. But very impressed already with the starting strategy and the starting of this game for Cartel. They just need to make sure they don't get overconfident and start to push things unnecessarily. But I do love this map as a whole. As you said, it is one of your favorite maps for CTF, but even for Slayer,
Yes.
it does play pretty nice. It does remind me of some of the midship games. And I do think that as we develop through Halo Infinite and the meta evolves, we're going to see players play it very differently. It could end up a little bit standoffy at times, but I think there's enough avenues that you can flank and you can break setups that it can stay very fast-paced.
Yeah, I can definitely see this particular map on Slayer being one of those ones that could go to 49-49. You have a massive standoff with players crouching around corners and nobody wanting to move, nobody wanting to blink first to make that mistake. But at the moment, 17-15 in favor of Cartel, and it's very close at the moment. We're going to see another camouflage as well very, very shortly. We'll see who's able to get their hands on that. Lqgend being the last one to control it. But it looks as though both these teams trading blow for blow within 3 kills, as well as we're seeing Snipedrone just clamber towards top middle and over towards that closed side. Like I said, puts shots straight into SLG, puts him away. TchiK as well would have lined up the double kill, but Lqgend on hand to get that. Now we're seeing Fragxr actually has gotten away, scampered with the camouflage, and how can he put it to use?
Okay, so this is better from OEX. The camouflage is going to be really important, and now a lot of responsibility on the shoulders of Fragxr. He's going to have to look to see if he can flank around, but just as I say that, the camo is gone, just like that. We mentioned it earlier, 30 seconds is all you get for the camouflage. You've got 1 or 2 kills in you before it disappears, and it becomes irrelevant. And even though OEX are keeping this one close, they are still behind, which means they are on the back foot. They are going to be struggling to find the kills, but look how these players are all looking to pick up that thrust. They're all looking to find that equipment that can really give them the advantage as Shaady takes down SLG.
What I'm really impressed there by as well for Shaady, he's run completely into front court and not taking any damage, such as the confidence and control they have in the map. He knows he's not going to take any damage to go over there and take that fight over by that fridge area. But Sica has lost his life now. It's a 4v4, both teams back to a full strength complement of each other. But 3 members of OEX all hunting in a pack, trying to weed out any of the Cartel members, but unfortunately not able to find too much. Just TchiK does get a kill, but they're rotating accordingly, and 2 members go down now. OEX are starting to fight as a team.
Yeah, they've tied this up 26-26, and they've got Cartel scrapping off spawn, and they're not really been able to get any shape. Instead, everyone seems to be running around the map as pairs at the moment. It is another way you see a lot of pros attempt to play a lot of Slayers just to make sure you can bait and switch, but Fragxr gets another 2, and the lead is finally being gained by OEX, and now it's what they do with this lead. The camo is going to be coming up. They can grab that one, and they can try and take real advantage of the map control they've been able to gain here.
Camo up, and they do grab it indeed. Dan, as NURIX puts it to work immediately, taking down Snipedrone. Should be a double kill, is a double kill. 3 dead now momentarily as Lqgend, the last man alive. They need to try and find him as quickly as he possibly can to try and dictate where the spawns are going to be. It looks as though he has been able to play his life long enough for his team to spawn back up, and now they're starting to collapse now on this yellow base. They're all set up over there, and we're seeing the camo player in NURIX starting to make moves. Takes down Lqgend once more. That's 2 members down as well. I see the collapse coming through very quickly.
Yeah, it's also good sometimes just to keep them in that base, try and force the spawn so that you know where they're coming from, and you can just watch those angles, you can watch those doorways, you can pre-nade, and you can make it very difficult to push out. But now a 4-kill advantage here for OEX. This is what they needed. This is the momentum shift that they so desperately required in what is only a best of 3. A winner's bracket final, only best of 3, so there's no room for error. But here's the boy, here's the baby, here's the heat wave I was talking about. Vertical does hit a couple of shots here or there, but there's going to be the bank shot to get the final kill onto Snipedrone, and now it's still going to be a 4-kill lead.
Yeah, the heat wave definitely working like a bit of a chili heat wave Dorito. As you've seen him, it's getting very spicy, puts those shots down and evaporates players into dust like it does end up on your fingers at the end of a packet of Doritos. But either way, Snipedrone through the eyes, putting down some shots onto 2 members top middle. Wisely decides he's going to back down, live to fight another day. All members of Cartel set up over towards this grass area, over on plants, or open as it's being called. It will no doubt evolve and shift as we do carry on, but they're the callouts that they've been given loosely. As Lqgend gets himself into a bit of a tussle and comes out on top, and that nade cooks him all the way through, does that disruptor nade.
Well, this is
Or
where Cartel
Dynamo even.
really need to kind of slow this one down. Yeah, the Dynamo Grenade doing its damage, but it's a 7-kill advantage for OEX. And Cartel want to slow it down. They need to minimize their deaths, but by slowing it down, they will naturally give a little bit more map control to OEX, who already have top middle, and they are searching. They are hunting for Cartel members. They're not allowing this one to slow down. They say, we want to take this to a game 3. We got absolutely smacked in game 1, but we're here to make a statement in game 2.
Make a statement they are. You just need 2 more kills to close this out, and they will push us to a game 3 of live fire Oddball. They've gotten 1 secured in the bag, just need 1 more, and they know exactly where Cartel are positioned, and they're starting to collapse on that now if they can. TchiK puts a couple of shots down, as does Snipedrone, as they trade damage back and forth. Lqgend's isolated all alone. He is taken down. That will be game, set, and match there. 1-1 in the series. We're going to live fire Oddball.
We are going to a game 3, and I'm impressed from OEX, because after that start, they went down by about 4 or 5, and I was starting to thinking, okay, this is going to be more of the same. But they started to demonstrate their raw talent and their raw aim. It wasn't the most strategic Slayer. There wasn't those times where both teams were having a standoff and they were trying to get map control. Instead, it was both teams kind of circulating the map, running as 2s, and it was all about who could hit their shots. And in that particular game, it was OEX hitting their shots just far better than the side of Cartel. You can see the stats there on your screen. Not the game to remember for some of the Cartel boys, but on the side of OEX, all pretty consistent. I think it was Fragxr who was the one who was step up when it came to flanks. You can see he only had 3 assists, so he really was finishing those kills, demonstrating what I was speaking of earlier, being that one player who just hunts and listens to call-outs to get those players who are already weak.
Yep, Fragxr coming out on top in terms of MVP of that game, but no doubt complimented by his teammates. He did manage to get himself 15 kills, only having 10 deaths as well, 56% accuracy as you can see there, but also shooting quite a lot, making sure his damage was there. As you can see, like Dan said, TchiK and SLG actually doing more damage than them, but he was going around finding those players, getting those flank routes, and doing exactly what we said. Flanking around bottom middle, just being a little bit unpredictable, a little bit unorthodox, finding those angles and ultimately getting those kills. But now we do head over to live fire Oddball. Dan, you spoke about it in scrim results. It was 2-0, 200-71 was the score, so they managed to beat them rather convincingly. Did Cartel on OEX next time, or last time. So let's talk about what can OEX do to turn their fortunes around here.
Yeah, they did it last time, so let's talk about the next time, which is right now. This is where, you know, it goes 2 ways when you look at scrim results. We can look at it and say, hey, they got battered 2-0, Snipedrone went +10. This is going to be an easy game for Cartel. But OEX would have learned a lot from that. They would have learned how Cartel are going to approach this game. They could have analyzed it, watched it back, which I really hope they did. I watched it this morning because I knew that this was a potential game. I knew that this could have come up today when I looked at what was going to be happening between these 2 teams. And as we just look back at the highlights from the previous game, live fire Oddball, it was just one of those where Cartel were in control from the get-go. And I think that was down to the starting strategy for OEX. Too many of them were looking at the ball from the start. They went bottom middle, they were throwing their nades, whereas Cartel, they were focusing on grabbing power-ups. They were grabbing power weapons, and they were putting themselves in the power positions so that when the power-up did come up, they were there to grab it. And they were rotating the ball so effectively as well, were Cartel. I think that's going to be one of the extreme things we're going to be seeing throughout Halo Infinite, throughout Oddball in general. Who can rotate it better? Who can recognize when a team is spawning somewhat near them and when they're going to be a threat? If they are, you rotate towards your teammates. And Livefire is a great map to actually demonstrate Oddball rotations, because there's several different ways you can hold it. There is several different routes you can take to rotate it. It all comes down to the ball carrier being confident to listen to the IGL and rotate it at the right times.
And live fire as well, it's particularly Oddball and strongholds that it can play, like, you don't really want to play your position to try and get kills most of the time. You're playing for information. When you see an enemy player, you want to call them out for your teammates and try and stay alive as long as you can until the cavalry arrives ultimately, because you don't want to be going down, because you give the enemy team the free reins on that side of the map. So what you want to be doing is playing for information, backing down and hoping your teammates come and help you out.
Or if you're playing with you watch you die.
Oh, yeah.
You run over, you try and like rescue the team, and you pick up the ball and you say, oh, that Jersey's died again. It keeps happening. But, you know, eventually I'll get a teammate who stays alive. And I joke because I'm usually the one dying with the ball. But you are right. Those are the ways you have to play this game. And you need to make sure you've got someone who will be confident to call those rotations as well. The IGL has to have some sort of domination around the rest of the team. He says, look, this is how we're going to do it. And the rest of the team says, okay, boss, yeah, look, we'll do it like this. Because if there's any second guessing, if someone tries to play it their own way, it just doesn't work out. You need to have someone in charge and someone that the rest of the team is going to listen to.
Well, speaking of IGLs, your in-game leaders for OEX, that's going to be SLG. He's going to be the man that dictates where his team's set up, and they do listen and respect his decisions when it comes that way. We're seeing Snipe Rifle there on the pad. We don't see it utilized too much on Oddball. It's very hard to get set up and really for a Snipe Rifle to find those angles as well. So we're seeing them do the same, a similar start and start again, nading bottom middle, but Heatwave ultimately in the hands now of the boys on OEX as TchiK picks that up, secures it, and 2 kills going in their favor as well. So that should be Oddball on the move and in their possession.
See, the main difference I'm already seeing from the scrim to now this actual live game is they spawn on different sides. And maybe this side is a little bit more beneficial when it comes to OEX. They were more comfortable with their starting strategy. SLG picked up a kill, but unfortunately TchiK will go down, and that will be the Heatwave going perhaps into the hands of one of the members of Cartel. Looks like one of the players may have disconnected from Cartel, so we'll see what happens on that side. But certainly to start, OEX looked a lot more comfortable here than they did in the scrim.
Yeah, I think ultimately we will see a reset of all things there, but it's an interesting point you raised about positions in which they spawned, and we've seen TchiK go bottom middle to secure that Heatwave, and he did die this time, and that could be a very good little bit of information that he has next time to know, okay, well, they're not going to push me bottom middle. I can get that Heatwave and start to move somewhere else. Yeah,
I think the Heatwave is something you have to have in your back pocket. Someone needs to be ready to pick that weapon up and go to town, because it's all well and good being confident in your BR, all well and good having someone who knows how to hit shots with a sniper, but the Heatwave can literally 1v3 another team if you use it correctly. And even with the best BR in the world, you're not really going to see someone achieve that with just BR shots alone. Sure, with maybe grenades alongside it, you might get someone really clutching up, but the Heatwave really can provide that extra little bit of a clutch factor that your team might need. And that could be, you know, a 1v3 that allows you to pick up that 1 extra second of ball time that allows you to actually win the round. So there is all these different things you have to take into consideration when it comes to the guns and the weapons that you're using. I saw someone in Twitch chat earlier saying, oh, you know, Halo only has 2 weapons that you actually use. And I think in previous Halos, I might agree. But in Halo Infinite, there are so many weapons at your disposal that do a job, and a serious job at that.
Yeah, in particular, we're talking about the Heatwave, giving it all the props as well. But on live fire, let's talk about where to hold the ball. Where's the most place I can set up to I'm going to get the most time? We're seeing people rotated towards base. We're seeing people rotated towards tower. Where is the optimal place that you would find to pick up that ball, bring it there, and it's going to be as safe as possible?
Optimal place, without a doubt, is going to be back tower. A tower in general, you can set up a lot better. You can spawn everyone towards base. You can spawn everyone towards the power-up side, towards the dummies, and you just get so much vision. You almost get free shots sometimes when people are spawning towards those the power-up side. So if you can hold the ball there, it's great. Yes, you're going to be a little bit vulnerable to some of the best grenaders in the world, but if you position yourself correctly and if you're quick, hot thinking, you can get out of the way, and you've got the option to throw the ball off the map if things go south. However, we do see a lot of ball work happening in the base, and that's mainly because it gets scrappy. And when you are panicking, you grab that ball from bottom mid, it's easier to get the ball into the house, the base, the garage, whatever you want to call it, than it is to actually get it up to the tower when you can sometimes get shot in the back. So it ends up being just a real scrap and a back and forth of teams holding the ball in the garage, dying, then the other team picks it up, dying, and it's about which team can quickly rotate it from garage to tower when the other team is spawning over towards the kind of green area. When you do manage to achieve that, you could spawn trap them, you can get them caught bottom middle, and then you can start to rack up some serious oddball time.
Yeah, that's interesting that you do say that about the oddball, but also we've gotten an update on the floor. Navi have won their game and they will be progressing as well, so Woo! It's good to see them. They did take down TBD 2-0, so they will be in the lower finals while we wait. Not team TBD this time. It's going to be actually to be determined. As
this actually is a TBD.
This actually is a TBD. So we're waiting for.
As an update for you guys who don't know who Team TBD are, that is Ramirez, it's Flux, it's Riot, it's some real powerhouse hitters of European Halo who have teamed with the likes of Navi, the likes of Foxy, the likes of Jimbo, but in this occasion it looks like Navi were able to get the better of Team TBD and they won't progress any further. But Navi will be waiting in that top 3 position for the loser of whoever comes out of this winners bracket final. At the moment, I don't know which way it's going to go. I was fairly confident it was going to be Cartel, Richie, because Cartel were looking on top of the world and Bazaar CTF, but then OEX looked like a different team as we went into Game 2. We need to see that OEX in Game 3. Otherwise, if we see the OEX from Game 1, they'll definitely be dropping into losers bracket.
And something that OEX can maybe stand in some sort of confidence is that they know if they, okay, listen, if we do win this game, we've beaten Navi before, we beat them 2-0 earlier in the tournament, so there's no reason why we can't do it again and have another crack at Cartel. The other side of that thing is Cartel haven't played Navi yet, so it really is going to be a mixed bag, and we're getting confirmation there. You can see Bazaar, CTF, a commanding, demanding lead, 4-0 for Cartel. Aquarius Slayer played a little bit differently. OEX recovered very, very well, 50-42. So we do head into Oddball live fire. It's going to be a little bit of a mixed bag to see who can get set up nice and early. That heat wave is going to be used, and we are going to jump straight into that game as well. But also something we haven't spoke about is the power up as well, Dan. That's going to be there, and that's going to play a part.
Yeah, it really does, and you have to focus it, you have to be ready for it. However, if you can kind of set up in a position where you can watch it, you can almost bait it, and you can encourage the other team to push up on it, and as soon as they do go for it, they are going to be vulnerable when they start trying to slap it into their chest. I think that rotations are everything here with the ball. I think that also split spawns are very common. This was something we were speaking to the likes of Onset, the likes of Clutch, who we'll see later on the North American show. When you do get split spawns, you need to be prepared as a team to push up on the weaker side of that split spawn. But from the get-go, NURIX getting a double, Lqgend also picking up one. It's a back and forth here between Cartel and OEX.
We're seeing he did manage to secure that heat wave once again, and that starting strat worked out a peach for them once again. So heat wave in their control. Ball could be in their control if they want to, but unfortunately Lqgend overextends just a little bit, and he will lose his life as a result of that. Camouflage now has popped up. It looks as though Shaady is going to secure it, but can he pop it into his chest? Yes, he can. He has free reign to do that whenever he wants. Ball in control of Cartel, and they're rotating it back towards base, not out of choice, but necessity.
And then when you do have the camo, it's your responsibility to kind of flank around, be a nuisance, give information to your team so that they don't get freely pushed up on. Speaking of freely pushed up on, it does look like from behind, Snipedrone's in a little bit of a predicament here, but does have the heat wave. And now the sniper also in the hands, and that's why you want the sniper. Shazy, you were saying we don't see it utilized too often because it's not for long range on this map. It's for short range, it's for no scopes, it's for beating down afterwards, it's for hitting those flick shots and really providing that extra firepower to your team.
Well, I'm going to apologize now because sniper rifle does not work like that for me. I think you have to actually land those body shots. And one man that can do that is Norwin, the man SLG, hitting the boomsticks, finding those body shots, putting those players down to no shields. And because of that, they've got some early control. But Ball did go over towards Cartel, and they've got the early score in 20-10. They're picking up some more points all the while. SLG and Fragxr, the last two men alive, up against three members of Cartel. So they're going to have to wait for their teammates before they make a coordinated push.
A lot of people will want that sniper rifle on a tower, looking across top middle, but you just leave yourself too vulnerable to BR shots from across the map. I much preferred it used as a kind of close range weapon, and it really can hit hard and change things in your favor. But a nice bit of ball control here for Cartel at the moment, holding it in this garage area. It's not the kind of ultimate setup that I would go for, but certainly if you play it correctly, you can pick up a lot of ball time. But it looks like they tried to rotate it around towards tower, but were cut off before they got there.
Now they are out towards this power-up side, over towards dummies, one of the least advantageous places to be. You see Snipedrone trying to get up towards that camouflage again. Ball out in no man's land as well. Look, this is exactly what Dan spoke about. When you try and rotate it over towards tower, you get back down immediately, but they're already up by 45 seconds or so now, Dan. So they're playing it quite well, and Shaady hitting those shots on the Fragxr, and SLG wants a piece as well, but unfortunately NURIX gets the finish there, and Shady's not going to have what he wants.
Yeah, and just another reminder that in Halo Infinite, it's now round-based oddball, so it's first to 100, but it's also a best of 3 when it comes to those rounds. So even if we see one team dominating, they get to 100, it all resets, you spawn again, and it's almost like a refresh beginning. And it just means there isn't too much snowball games. No one just can kind of shut another team out of control. But saying that, there's some good nades that are coming in from both teams, but it looks like Cartel again still come out on top here in Garage.
Yeah, not playing for information, the ball carrier there. Unfortunately, he overextended just a touch and lost his life to Shaady, it would seem. And then also SLG, as a result of that, tried to play a little bit defense, tried to pick up the slack, but his shields just hadn't regenerated from the fight beforehand. And he goes down as well, and goes down with the camouflage. How costly could that be for OEX, as Lqgend has the ball in his hand, back base, 9 kills and 4 deaths for Lqgend. He's playing quite well as well. Heatwave now in possession of the player Sica, he gets taken down. 3 members now up for OEX, and they're making that push up against 2 members of Cartel.
Nice shots from Snipedrone. Just needs to survive here. It's a 2 versus 2. He needs to be a nuisance, and that's perfect. Bait and switch. Just shows his back, gets away, using the sprint, which gives you a little bit of a speed advantage over just moving, and allowed the rest of his team to get some shots on for free. But OEX did secure the garage. They did secure the ball. They started to get a little bit of ball time, but is it too late? 91 seconds on the clock already for Cartel. They could get scrappy here, and they just have to kind of desperate the ball, and eventually they'll probably be rewarded for it.
Yeah, you think the call out here has got to be focused on Slays, and Sica's done just that. He's got the ball in his hands, and that will take us all the way home to a 1-0 lead for Cartel. They're going in first leg, first foot in the door of the grand finals. They're right on the edge here now, so you just need to secure one more round and they will be in grand finals. But OEX have it all to do to claw this one back.
Playing quite similarly to what happened in the scrims, OEX just not able to get enough ball control, and Cartel perfectly avoiding the spawns of OEX, recognizing where they're going to be pushing from and being ready every single moment. Sniper once again in the hands of one of the members of Cartel, but gets taken down. And now it's a little bit scrappy here. SLG moving towards the camo, which spawns in 5 seconds. But I think this is probably going to go to Cartel as Lqgend pushes up and ahead of it.
Yeah, Fragxr goes down. That will put his team down a man as they try and make this push. And that man again, Sica, has his hands on the ball, scoring points for his team while the rest of them scrap and hurry around the place. But Heatwave and Camo in the hands of Snipedrone, and he's going face first into 3, and that might have been a little bit of a misplay on his part, but he didn't have the information perhaps that he would have needed to make that push. Mangler though, 2 headshots. Player down to no shield, and a clean up as well. Great plays there out of SLG. So he's going to try and play defense with that Mangler, faced with Snipedrone as well. Shots go down, wins that battle as well, and SLG is cooking.
This is what you need from SLG. If he can start doing this, winning all these individual fights, he'll give so much confidence to the rest of the OEX squad. He's utilizing the Mangler to full effect, getting those 2 shots, and then he's more confident in his BR shot, so he whips that out for the final headshot. Great stuff from SLG, but meanwhile, the rest of the team did go down. The ball, though, is still in the hands of NURIX. Eventually will fall, but he does play it. That's one of the other areas on the map. You can hold the ball. You can hold it towards green because you can play it, but you do leave yourself very vulnerable to grenades.
Fragxr in that last life just got his first kill of the game as well, so we will not see any gooses. There was a loose goose watch, but unfortunately, or fortunately if you are going to be Fragxr, you got that kill when he needed it most. The ball now in the hands of OEX, and they desperately do need to get time and do need to win this round, or they will be heading down to face Navi once more. So 45 seconds. They've got a little bit of a poor setup here, and they are trying to rotate that ball towards tower. Nobody's been successful thus far.
Yeah, they don't really know how to get to tower. You saw that he was trying to move that way, but then there was a couple of spawners from Cartel, so he had to just double back on himself, and now he's stuck in between a rock and a hard place down bottom middle. Yeah. Not really a solid setup, but all the meanwhile, at least they were gathering time there. 54 seconds is still nothing to shake a stick at.
Camouflage again, and Heatwave in the hands of Snipedrone. Can he do a better job of it this time? That's a great start. 1 kill in the bag already. Throws that ball out, recognizing sniper rifle also in his hand. What can Snipedrone do with it? Opts not to fire this time. I'm not upset with that one bit. And when he does decide to fire, he finds the face of NURIX and makes sure he can't get anywhere near that ball. He's playing defense and fires a shot towards Stark as well. This time it's not going to connect. But it did connect with the body, it seems, as he also gets that nade kill. So Heatwave in his hands, all out of camouflage, but Snipedrone's starting to heat as well.
Yeah, see, this is Snipedrone. He knows that the Heatwave is so powerful. He's also been focusing the camo, really playing what is available in the sandbox of Halo Infinite. But he does get taken down eventually. So does Sica. So even though Cartel, they dominated round number 1, OEX have seemed to have found a little bit of form coming into round number 2 here. They're getting ball control. It's not been the cleanest of setups, but they've been moving as a team, and that's what's important. They've been slaying as they go, as continuously SLG is racking up time here.
You're seeing the call-outs come through as well. They're in a great spot here, and was out set up towards green, can play this ball whenever he needs to. I love this as well, just delaying his life for as long as possible, giving his teammate just that extra second to get back on the map and contest for that ball reset. Camouflage again, going to be another 20 seconds. Some heads-up play by OEX, and that's exactly what you're going to need if you're going to take down Cartel.
And now Cartel are going to get a little bit antsy. They're going to try and get some ball time. They will pick up the ball from the spawn, but are they able to actually get any control? They do have the sniper rifle again. They may be able to get the camouflage as it's popping soon. And it's whether they can actually just hold off OEX, who might get desperate to try and finish this game, knowing they are so close to actually getting around on the board. But neither team has been able to get that perfect tower setup yet.
Yeah, I think if you're OEX, if you're SLG, this is the time where your in-game leader needs to step up and say, listen, let's play for Slays. Don't worry about the ball just yet, because if we start desperating things, trying to get those 20 seconds, we might end up going 2 down and getting eliminated. So we're seeing Slays come through as Lqgend and Shaady have fallen down. SLG, the only member of OEX who's hitting the ground. So 3 members up against 3 for the moment. But as I say that, NURIX also falls. That's going to stop that push and add to the frustrations as Cartel keep mounting more points.
It's an awkward situation when you're the last remaining player and you want to push in, you want to stop the ball time, but you have to be patient. You have to wait for the rest of the team as SLG gets taken down once more. And this time is starting to tick over now for Cartel. And what was once a very significant gap is now a very minimal one. And Cartel with a chance here to push towards the grand finals with this ball hold if they can continue to slay out.
Splash damage, that nade is going to connect onto Snipedrone as he tries to stay alive in this window area, putting shots down on TchiK, who was unaware he was there. That information has to come through. That cannot happen to TchiK if they're going to get control of this ball. As he drops down towards these tunnels area, just trying to clear it and make it sure. But they 4 dead once more, Dan, and that push that they needed to get, it's not happening, it's not coming through, and now we're seeing Cartel within 9 seconds.
Yeah, and Sica's just hovering from left to right here. He knows he might need to move one way or the other, might need to go towards green, depending on where the push comes through. But the push seems to be top middle. Fragxr is taken down, so now OEX are just a 3. And all the meanwhile, this time is still being gathered up by Cartel. They're only 12 points away from being in the grand final.
They're trying to push together our OEX, but the issue is they're funneling into one area where one grenade takes both players down to no shields. It's food and drink for Cartel. They're going to keep on scoring points, but finally, OEX have gotten their hands on that ball. They're rotating over towards green. 2 members down for Cartel. Still 2 members as Lqgend trades up for Shaady as one comes onto the map and one leaves. So as that green setup just needs 5 seconds, but unfortunately a clutch kill comes through as Snipedrone takes down that ball carrier, and NURIX also falls as well. It's a 2v2 and ball has reset. We're seeing desperation plays as they try and descend on that ball to get those last 4 seconds of ball time. Patience being used here and utilized. Ball goes down. Camouflage as well has gone down. Camouflage in the hands of one of the OEX players, but unfortunately unable to use it. 2 members go down and tried to desperate for that ball. And now Cartel just needs 6-7 seconds.
Cartel getting control. They need 6 more, as you say, and now they're slaying out. 2 players dead on OEX. They're still holding the ball. 3 more seconds. It should be enough, but here comes the glory play. Can they actually get the time after it, though? They get the kill. The ball flies up into the air, but it does tick over to 100. Cartel will be progressing to the grand final. The ball went higher than my voice, and that's quite surprising because, boy, does my voice change when plays like that happen.